Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a label or a signature for putting on your pictures or whatever. So I'm going to go to File, New. On your new document, make sure you go to Print and change the size there to pixels, and let's go to, we could go to A4. A4 will be fine, I think. Change that to pixels again, but we want it to be, the orientation, we want it to be horizontal like that. So click that on there, make sure the RGB colour, make sure we've got working sRGB down there, if not change it, and make sure that we've got 16-bit selected. That'll just give us better quality. Then click on Create. Now we've got a new blank document. I want the background to be black, so on your colours select black. For your foreground colour, click the paint bucket tool and just simply click on your background. So we've now got a layer on there. Now we go to our text tool. We select a text style that we like. I'm going to use this one. Obviously all computers got different fonts on, so it's selecting something that's suitable for you. You can experiment doing that. So I'm going to use that one. I'll make sure that I change the colour up here to white, because I want to be able to see what I'm doing. And the font size, we can go quite large. Let's go with 72. And I'm going to click there. And I'm going to type my name. Now the spacing will be different probably on your computer to mine in between the letters, and you can alter that, and that's what we're going to do, because we want to customize this so the letters look like they're joining up, and I'm going to do that individually between each letter because I want them to be slightly different. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to get that E slightly closer to the L. Now to do that, on a PC it's the Alt key, on a Mac it's the Option key, so hold down that key and then tap the left cursor key, so your arrow keys, until you've got it to the position that you want. I want it about there, I think. And then I'm going to click to the next letter and I'm going to bring that in. So it's just touching. That's about it. And then I'm going to bring this one closer. Now I've got a space here, so I'm going to click where the space is and bring that in slightly first. And then if I want it closer, I need to click that side. So I want it to look like that. Then I'm going to click there. I'm going to keep repeating the process until I've got it how I want it to look. So I'm going between the individual letters, just using the same method. And obviously if you want to space them out, then you use the right key instead of the left cursor key. So should you go wrong, you can put it right. Okay, so that's how I want it to look. Then I'll click the tick on the options bar. I'll click on the move tool. Now I want to be able to see these graphic handles that extend around there, the frame with these handles on there. Now different versions of Photoshop, unfortunately, even the same version on different machines, things look slightly different at times. I don't know why, but you could have a little box on there for show transform controls. If you haven't, this cog here will show various things that aren't on there. And it's here, look, so we must make sure that's ticked to be able to see these graphic handles. Now once you've got that, and you don't have to do this, you could use the font as it is, but I'm going to edit it a little bit. I don't want it to slope over quite so much. So on your PC, if you've got a Windows PC, it's the Control key. On a Mac it's Command, and if you put your mouse over the handle there in the middle and then use the mouse, so keeping the button down all the time, the letter down, I can distort this and get it to look how I want it to look. So I'm happy with that. Press the enter key, and that's my first bit done. Now I'm going to resize this. I'm going to make it fairly large, which will mean it will come large on a picture, but you can resize it down. It's better to resize it down than resize it up because the quality will be better. So that's why I like it quite large. So just resize it, suitable size, and then if we go to the text tool again. Now be careful when you go to the text tool, make sure you click well away from the other text, because if you don't, sometimes the cursor will come in here and you change the font and it changes all this and weird things happen. So make sure you've got a separate selection down there. We need to change the font size. Let's try 24, maybe that's okay. And we want a different font. Now I'm going to use quite a plain font for this, so I'm going to use something like that. And I'm going to type photography. And I'm going to use the move tool again. I'm going to move it upwards. So I'm going to put it about there. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click this. So I'm going to use that method again of resizing it. Again, the space is larger between the text. So I'm going to hold down the Alt or the Option key, depending on what computer you've got, and tap the right arrow key to make it more spaced out. And I'm going to click the tick on the options bar when I'm happy with what I've got. Okay, next thing, I need to change this text into an image. So to do that, I right click and I go to rasterize type, and then I'll do it on the next one down. I click on there, I do the same thing, right click, rasterize type. Now I've got that one highlighted. I'm going to press down the shift key on the keyboard and click the top one, and what that does is selects both layers, and then I can right click on those layers and I can click on merge layers. What I don't want to do is to merge the bottom layer, the black background. So now I've got this on a separate layer. Now I've done that, I am going to use the crop tool. So I'll click on the crop tool and I'm going to crop it reasonably tight to my text. And then I'll click the tick on the options bar to commit the crop. Now what I do, I don't want the background to be there. We are going to save this as a transparent file. So I'm going to click on the background, I'm going to right click on it and delete that layer. Say delete the layer background, yes. So now it's transparent, but it won't remain transparent. If I was to save that, it would not remain that transparency. And that's what we need to do now, because we're going to save this as a file on our computer, somewhere safe where you're not going to move it. That's really important. You're not going to move it or delete it. We need to save this under the right format. So we go to File on the menu and we click on Save a Copy. And what this will allow me to do is to change the format. So we've got the format JPEG. What we want is PNG, a PNG file. We can embed the color profile, so we'll click there. And then we say where we want to save it. So I'm just going to save it directly to my hard drive on here. So I know it's there. It's in that, or you could put it in a folder. It doesn't matter where you put it as long as you don't delete it and you don't move it. So put it in an area, and it's not going to be a massive file. It wouldn't matter if you use it on your you know, your normal drive or wherever you put it, it's not going to be huge. Okay, so now we can click save. Now this is the important bit, these options. We need it to be large file and we need it to be interlacing. So make sure that you've got that ticked, because if not, you will not get the transparency that we need. So that's important. Click on OK, and now we can close that image. Now it will say, do you want to save? We've already saved as PNG, we don't want to save this, so we can say don't save now. We know we've got the PNG file. So now we've got to remember where it is. This is the important bit. What we can now do is just load up any image, it doesn't matter which one. Let's have a look. Not a nice one, is it really? Okay, let's just click on open that one. Okay, so a spider. Okay, so what I now want to do is to create an action to put my image onto my pictures. Now we don't want to create an action before we've opened the image. We need an image on there first of all, just to actually do this. So we click on the actions. I'm just going to delete a couple on here. That I don't need before we start. Okay, so you wouldn't do that. So I'll click on new action. It says the set default actions, that's fine, we leave that as it is. We just give it a name. So signature, whatever you want to call it. Click on record. Now follow the process. Go to file, open. Now it will go to the drive where you last selected. I would click on another drive and then click back on that drive, because we want to record we're going to the right location, so it's best to do that. Click on another location, then back on the location where your file is, and then we select your signature. Now we didn't name it, we just called it untitled one. That doesn't matter. I would probably give it a name. I didn't do that when I saved it, I should have done, but I know that's the file. So I'll click on open. When I do that, I go to select on the menu, all, edit, copy. Then close this image with your signature on. That's really important. And then we go to file, we go to edit rather, paste. Now this may come up, we just say OK on that when that happens, and there's the signature. Now at that stage we don't do anything. What we now do is we now close our actions. So we stop it rather. We click on there to stop. So we've now created our signature, which now I've stopped that, I can move it around. Don't move it around until you've clicked stop, and I could resize that to wherever I want. And I'm going to show you how to use the action actually, because I can delete this now. Let's just say I've just opened my image and I want to put my signature on. So you've opened your image, go to your actions, go to your signature and click play. We click OK on this. I could say don't show again, which I probably will do. There we go. So there's my signature. I can resize it and put it where I want. Press the enter key, then you would flatten your image. Now that's fine if white shows up okay on your image, but let's say your image is a very light colour and it didn't show up very well. So let's say it was here and didn't show up. It does show up and I would probably leave it like that, but let's say it was in a colour of that sort of thing where you wanted a different colour. So what we would do in that case, There's various things. If we just wanted it black, make sure you're on that layer there and go to Image, Adjustments, and click on Invert. Now you can use the shortcut, and the shortcut is on there. So if you can remember the shortcut, on mine it's Command I, yeah. On a PC it's Control I. So you could do that without having to do all this, and it will then change it to the opposite colour, which is black. So that is one way to change the colour, and in most cases that's all I use, black or white. If you did want it a different colour for some reason, let's just we're on this layer. If I hold down Control on a PC or Command and I click this, can you see it's made a selection? Let's just zoom in on that so you can see. So it makes a selection. Now if you've got a selection, we can hide this layer, it's gone, and we can create a new layer. And then we could select a colour. Let's say I wanted red or whatever colour you wanted. Get a paintbrush and simply click and paint. Take off the selection, and that's now on a separate layer, and you can move that to wherever you want. So you're not stuck with one colour. Obviously that when you do the action it's not going to remember that colour, but you know, that's a way. 9 times out of 10 I'm just using black or white, but it shows you can use different techniques to get the colour that you want. Okay, so that completes the lesson on that.